Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Peter Welch. I'm the president of the National Automobile Dealers Association. We're a national trade association that represents America's nearly 19,000 franchise new car and truck dealers. I'm pleased today to introduce the administrator of the Environmental Protection Agency, Scott Pruitt, who was confirmed just last year as the 14th administrator of the EPA. And since then, he's been very busy. He's spearheaded over 24 significant regulatory reforms worth over $1 billion in savings his first year here at EPA, and all told, issued more deregulatory actions than any other federal agency under the Trump administration. I want to thank the administrator for his leadership and commitment in working towards greenhouse gas standards that help us build upon the tremendous progress that our industry, the automotive industry, has made in fuel economy and improvements in emission reductions, while ensuring that new motor vehicles remain within the economic reach of our customer base. Auto dealers fully support continuous improvements in fuel economy, and we fully support fuel economy standards that encourage fleet turnover, because that's really the name of the game, getting new and modern cars on the road. But the key to the equation isn't just the highest possible standard, it's the highest standard we can achieve while keeping vehicles affordable, because if our customers can't buy them, we don't get the advantage of it. Customer research shows that monthly payment is the top concern for our customers. We lose affordability, we lose sales. It's really as simple as that. And if we lose sales, we'll keep people in older cars that are less safe, that are less fuel efficient, and then we really haven't advanced our mutual goal to maximize the number of new fuel-efficient cars on the road. So this is why a data-driven process for determining the appropriate standards is so vital to the process, one that takes into account the myriad of factors that determine which Americans are likely to buy which vehicles and at what price. Administrator Pruitt.
Thanks, Peter. Thanks. Well, Peter, thank you very much, and it's good to see you here today. What an exciting day. We always like to have guests here at the EPA, and I love these signs. Particularly the signs that say jobs. That looks really, really good. I see all kinds of the signs up here as well, so it's good to see this demonstrated today. And we're here to talk about jobs, obviously, but I want to talk first about what's happening across the country with respect to our agenda here at the EPA. You know, it's a time of hope and optimism. This is a special time of the year, as you know. I've talked about this quite a bit. Opening day was last week. And so as we start the new baseball season, all teams across baseball are very optimistic about winning the World Series. And as I kid my friends from Chicago, after all, if the Cubs can win, anybody can. And so that hope and optimism that has driven baseball this time of the year, it's driving the economy across the country as well, and largely because of the decisions that we're making in the executive branch to get back to common sense regulations and certainty with respect to how we do business. As you know, one of the first things that President Trump did as he came into office was invite the Auto Alliance, manufacturers, auto dealers, to the White House to talk about the importance of auto manufacturing and that sector of our economy. And he followed that up shortly by going to Detroit, when I joined him there, and he made a commitment to the people in Detroit, and he made a commitment to the people of this country that we were going to return to due order and due process in making a decision about the midterm evaluation, because as you know, the past administration told the American people, as the standards were adopted, there would be a midterm evaluation in April of 2018. The past administration accelerated that by 16 months, made the decision in December, announced it in January, gave the test before the test was supposed to be given. And so the president went to Detroit, Michigan, and said what? We're going to restore a commitment to that process. And thus began the journey from March of last year to April of this year to evaluate the merit, the standards that were set, were they appropriate? As you know, I'm here to announce that those standards that were set, that we are obligated to evaluate, I am determining that those standards are inappropriate and should be revised. This will begin a process that will determine what those standards should be. It is not conclusory in that regard. But what is conclusory is that what took place before, and as we look at various issues on how we should set these standards, they need to be updated and evaluated, and the standards need to be revised accordingly. As an example, when you think about where we are in this country today and how fuel is being used, and how cars are being used, and as I think as Peter indicated, I think the focus in the past has been on making manufacturers in Detroit, making manufacturers in various parts of the country make cars that people aren't going to buy. And if our focus should be on making cars that people purchase actually more efficient. To have arbitrary percentages of our fleet made up of vehicles that aren't going to be purchased, that defeats the very purpose of what the CAFE standards are supposed to address. We should be focused upon making those cars more efficient, because if not, then individuals will stay in older vehicles, as Peter indicated, and emissions will go up. So we will get this right going forward this year, but it is very right for us to be here to recognize that what was done in 2011 and 12, as we evaluate it now, is not appropriate going forward, and we're going to get it right as we address it this year. So this is another step. This is another step in the President's regulatory agenda, deregulatory agenda, regulatory certainty. As Peter indicated, $1 billion in savings with respect to over 22 significant regulatory actions that we've been involved in here at the agency. This President has shown tremendous courage to say to the American people that America is going to be put first. And I think this midterm evaluation, the auto sector, the importance of auto manufacturing in this country, the President again is saying America is going to be put first. And we have nothing to be apologetic about with respect to the progress we've made in reducing emissions as a country. We've led the world with respect to reduction of GHG, mobile sources and otherwise, through technology and innovation. And the auto sector, from my perspective, has been the leader in achieving that through better design and through better technology. And that's exciting, and we should celebrate that as a country. So as we go forward to the rest of the year, I just want to say first and foremost to you in the auto sector, thank you for your leadership. Thank you for the difference you've made in behalf of the environment. Thank you for your continued commitment to these principles. And we here at the agency recognize that. We here at the agency are going to consider that and make sure that consumers across this country are not put in a position where they're having to buy more expensive cars, or cars that don't really truly want to be purchased, creating worse outcomes for the environment. So again, welcome today, and thank you for your attendance today. And I think that we're going to have a couple more folks come up and talk about the midterm evaluation. And I think maybe, perhaps, come on up and welcome. Thanks so much.
Administrator Pruitt, we're pleased to be here today. My name is John Bozzella. I'm the President and CEO of Global Automakers. On behalf of our member companies, I want to express my appreciation for the thorough empirical analysis of the 2022 to 25 greenhouse gas standards for cars and light trucks. In 2011, when automakers and regulators in Washington and California agreed to significantly reduce greenhouse gas emissions and improve fuel economy more than a decade into the future, we all agreed to review the bases for that decision: the state of the technology, the price of gasoline, consumer preferences, to ensure that we are on the right course. Global Automakers and its member companies believed then, and we believe now, that we need to continue to reduce emissions and improve fuel economy. Strong and achievable standards are important for the environment, for the industry, and for consumers. Today, the EPA has decided a course correction is required. Our review of the record to date supports this conclusion. However, a course correction does not require that we abandon our commitment to ongoing emissions reductions, nor should it. Today's announcement is the first step in a longer rulemaking process. We believe the best way to achieve our collective goals is under a single national program that provides an aggressive but achievable pathway, a variety of compliance tools, and factors in the role of customers. The world market is shifting to low-carbon transportation, and the United States needs to remain competitive. The auto industry can best achieve its goals where there is regulatory certainty, consistency, and room to innovate. Manufacturers need to sell vehicles that customers need and want today to fund the technological shifts in electrification and automation expected in the future. All stakeholders, federal, state, industry, and others, need to be working together now, following the final determination to develop a national program that keeps us moving forward for the years 2022 through 2025 and beyond. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John. I'm Mitch Bainwell with the Auto Alliance. I'm reminded whenever I go last in the sequence of what former Senator John Warner said when he married Elizabeth Taylor, becoming her sixth husband. He said, "I know what to do, but I'm not sure how to make it interesting." So I know what to do, and I'll try to make this interesting. Thank you, Administrator Pruitt. Really appreciate it. It's good to be here with you and your team. I'm also delighted to be with the dealers. So, Peter, thank you for being here. These standards are not about abstract theory or hopeful forecasts. They're about what people want to buy in the dealerships that Peter represents. The EPA and NHTSA programs measure automakers by what people buy at those dealerships. The cars in the showrooms of America tell the story of an industry committed to energy efficiency, investing billions of dollars to make gas engines more sophisticated and efficient, and to develop high MPG alternative powertrains. Just over a year ago, as the Administrator noted, the entire industry requested the new administration to reboot the MTE and undertake a data-driven review to determine if the GHG targets needed adjustment and to harmonize at least the federal programs. Returning to the original timing honors the 2011 agreement. The President agreed, and along with Secretary Chow, your announcement today marks the beginning of an effort to maximize GHG savings, facilitate coordination between EPA and NHTSA, and hopefully California, and align the program with marketplace realities. Facts matter, and they support your determination today. What are those facts? Gas prices, projected to be $3.65 in 2018. They're about $1 short of that now. Very cheap. Sale of alternative powertrains, stuck at about 3% of the market. Compliance, we're in full compliance in 2015. We're now in under compliance, even as fuel efficiency rises. Unit sales rising through 2016 and beginning to soften. There's a lot of talk about rollback in the press coverage, and that description is wrong. I just want to point out, here's where we are right there. Anything short of the horizontal line is rollback. The second you go up, and we're all for increasing standards, you're not in rollback territory. Automakers, to be precise, support targets rising year over year. No one is advocating a freeze or rollback from today's numbers. We are committed to progress and support standards that rise over time. Adjustments are also necessary to reflect changes in fleet mix. These changes automatically move the headline number. You can see in that chart, the number started at 54.5 when EPA in early January of 17 adjusted, the number moved to 51.4, so there's just based on fleet mix changes. And that, if you were to recalculate based on fleet mix, has already got you under 50. So there's nothing etched in stone here. I'd like to offer these additional points. First, the nature of mobility is fundamentally changing, both in powertrains and models of mobility. Now is a great opportunity to modernize and update these programs. Second, while working out an agreement with California isn't easy, given different perspectives, harmonization offers real value to our industry and to the American consumer because regulatory incoherence jeopardizes affordability. So thank you for your team's efforts to meet with California. We hope it succeeds. Third, your point about the power of fleet turnover is compelling. We all need to remember that a vehicle improving from 10 to 20 mpg saves about 10 times the fuel that a vehicle going from 40 to 50 mpg does. Given that the average age of cars is nearly 12 years old, the best thing we can do for families and for society is to turn over this fleet as rapidly as possible. Smart regulation does that. Fourth, in terms of fuel efficiency and associated carbon savings, the gap that we're talking about is really fractional. A 1% growth rate over today's level yields 97% of NHTSA's fuel savings, 97% with just a 1% increase, and that's over the 2012 to 2025 period. A 3% growth rate yields 99% of the original estimates. So we're talking about fractions here. Finally, my last point, whether you're standing here in DC or anywhere across this country, including California, our goals are fundamentally the same. We want to find a way to maximize fuel efficiency, maximize carbon reduction, employment, affordability, and safety. These are all essential social objectives. We can't compromise one for the others. So thank you for your leadership, sir. We deeply appreciate the administration's work to find a way to balance fuel efficiency and affordability. Thank you.
I think we're going to get a picture now. And Mitch, Tate, I'll let you lead us where you'd have us be on the picture.
All right.
Yeah.
I think we're going to take a few photos. going to push this podium back. If you guys-
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Oh, I see.
Move over just